Generative AI models are now everywhere, and students around the world are among their most heavy users. They are using this technology for many purposes, but also to cheat on homework assignments and take-home exams. For teachers around the world, with the task of assessing what their students have learned, this is giving them headaches. Understandably, they would really like to have access to good AI detectors that can tell them whether or not generative AI has been used to write a text or generate a calculation, computer code, or drawing. This situation clearly presents a business opportunity, and entrepreneurs around the world have jumped on it and have started offering AI detection tools, often making big promises about their reliability. So, problem solved? Should we start using these detectors, just as we have widely adopted plagiarism detectors in education in the last 2 decades? Before we start basing important decisions on these AI detectors, like accusing students of fraud, it is good to ask ourselves how they work, how reliable they currently are, how reliable they can be in the longer term, and whether there are also dangers in using them. In this video, we will limit ourselves to AI detectors for text, but similar points could be raised about the detectors of speech, music, code, image, and video generation. So, how do they work? AI detectors are presented with a text and need to decide whether this text, or specific parts of the text, was written by a human or by an AI, and assign a particular probability to its judgment. Sometimes they are also used to identify the specific chatbot that might have generated the text. To achieve this task, they need to detect patterns in the text, such as the occurrence of specific words, like delve, underscores, and showcasing, which are considered giveaways for AI generation. But also the occurrence of specific combinations of words. Giveaways could be as simple as a language model, or here's the introduction you requested. Or more sophisticated patterns in the frequency of words and punctuation and of combinations of words and symbols. An important thing to realize is that this task is not so different from the task that the generative AI models themselves must solve. They too must discover patterns in human written text, but they then use the discovered patterns to generate new text, novel combinations of words that are still grammatical and meaningful. When you recognize this fact, it becomes clear that generative AI models and AI detectors are in a bit of an arms race. GenAI models are trained to mimic human language output as well as possible using the latest techniques from machine learning, while AI detectors are trying to detect the remaining differences with humans as accurately as possible, again using the latest techniques from machine learning. So how reliable are AI detectors? The short answer is not very. As GenAI models are trained on the text of millions of different people and not of a single persona, the blandness of their output, its middle-of-the-road nature, is sometimes a giveaway. And as they are trained not only to mimic humans, but also to be polite, unoffensive, and helpful, their specific word choices and overly polite style can be a giveaway too. Some vendors of AI detectors have therefore been able to claim high detection rates in tests where they compare human-generated text and simple AI-generated text using simple prompts. But such giveaways are quite superficial phenomena, and with some clever prompts or special AI detection avoidance tools, the superficial clues can be quite easily removed. So current AI detectors are a shaky basis to base important decisions on. So how reliable can such detectors become in the future? The answer is again not very, because the limitations are fundamental and inherent to how they work, and not due to lack of effort in making them. A final question is, are there also dangers in using AI detection tools? And here the answer is certainly yes. Relying on AI detection tools can lead to false accusations of fraud. And worse even, this problem might affect certain groups of students more strongly than others. Research has already been reported showing that non-native students are more likely to have their work falsely flagged as AI generated. And perfectionist students that put all of their punctuations in the right places, or students that just love to delve into a difficult topic and to showcase their abilities, might be too. So, although AI detection tools might sometimes have their use as a deterrent, or as a starter for a conversation with students about the authorship of their work, it would be best to organize our testing of students in such a way that we don't have to rely on these unreliable technological fixes. Instead, teachers better critically review and adapt the way they assess their students to ensure their tests measure authentic learning and are resilient to AI use.